stunning perfume, smells super expensive, super luxurious. I can smell the pear without even spraying this on. And it also has a champagne note, hence the bubbly aspect of it. Super duper juicy, very cozy, very romantic. I love it. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Giselle, I review perfumes. And if you're one of my loyal returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for your loyal support. Today, I'm going to talk about rose fragrances that even non-rose lovers might end up loving them. So if you want to hear more about these perfumes, let's dive in. By the way, we have company today. My dog Zeus, he's 180 pounds and he's not doing well. And since he's a little bit sick, I didn't want to kick him out of the room, poor thing. So you might hear him breathing because I have a mic here and it might amplify the sound. So I hope it doesn't bother you. I apologize on behalf of him. So the first rose fragrance I'm going to review today, it's probably the most coveted and the most viral fragrance on the internet, which is La Rose from the Fetish line by Louis Vuitton. So this is a deep, velvety, rich rose fragrance with a soft cherry note. The cherry note here is very soft. So if you're looking for a syrupy, fleshy, sweet, dripping sweet type of maraschino cherry, this is not the fragrance for you. The cherry note here is really toned down and the star of the show is the rose. However, it's a great combination. I think they really blend beautifully. Very soft, the cherry is soft, the rose is soft as well. However, it's very deep, very rich, and very dark as well. I would say this is like a gothic type of rose scent, minus the aggressive component, if it makes sense, because it's dark enough to be in a gothic category. However, it's a soft fragrance. This is not a beast, this is a skin scent. I find this fragrance similar to Carmina by Creed. They are not similar like dupes or clones or anything like that, not at all. However, I could see Carmina being an inspiration behind, not necessarily, but it could well be, because I would put both in the same category. This is a very refined rose cherry fragrance. It's a little bit powdery, very soft. It's very sexy, very sensual, very alluring. It smells expensive, I'm not gonna lie. However, guys, it didn't wow me. It's very beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I'm very picky when I add a new fragrance to my collection, especially rose, because believe it or not, I have a lot of rose fragrances, but I've never been a true fan of rose. It has to be a very particular rose. But so far, guys, this one didn't wow me. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna end buying a bottle. Maybe I will. Sometimes a sample is enough for me to know whether I'm gonna buy a fragrance or not. In some other cases, like this one for example, I will need more than one sample before biting the bullet or pulling the trigger and getting this bottle. Projection is about an arm length during the first hour, I would say, and after that the fragrance sits close to the skin. As I said at the beginning, this is a skin scent, this is not a beast. You won't turn heads. Sillage is average. There is a nice sillage in the first hour, you know, when it projects stronger. But after that, as I said, the fragrance sits closer to the skin. When people come close to you, they will definitely smell it. However, it's not the type of strong rose fragrance that you will turn heads every step of your way. It's not that type of rose. And again, if you're looking for if you're thinking about this fragrance but more on the cherry side of it, this is not for you. However, if you like deep, dark, rich but soft rose scents, this one is definitely a must try. 100% a nighttime scent. Again, it smells luxurious, it smells expensive. You'll get that component. I can totally see this perfume as one of those that definitely makes you feel special. But as I mentioned, I will need more than one sample to make the decision whether I'll buy a full bottle or not. I like it a lot. I just don't get the hype and I don't have to. Many fragrances are hype and it just don't work for me, and vice versa. We all have different tastes, and I might like fragrances that other people don't. So I'm still in the testing phase. I will keep you posted if I decide to go and buy a full bottle. From this line, my favorite, honestly, is Fétiche l'Ambré, which is an amber fragrance. This one is beautiful, not my favorite, but I can understand, although I don't understand the hype, I can understand why many people like it, aside from the hype, if it makes sense. So to wrap it up, it's a mass appealing fragrance, 100% a nighttime type of scent, very sensual, feminine, sexy, pretty powdery. You have to enjoy powdery scents, not powdery in a vintage way, but powdery as many rose fragrances are. It is so popular that it's always sold out. It is very hard to find, but I finally found it available and I have linked it down below in the description box. The next rose fragrance on my list is Imparia by BDK. As you can see, it's going down. It doesn't look as if I wore a lot, but I did, trust me. This is a very strong fragrance, especially now that the weather started to be warmer and more humid. So you have to be careful because this is a beast. This fragrance is a beast, and if you don't want to be choking people around you, you have to be mindful with your spritzes. But that aside, I want to tell you that this is it's so good. This is such a very different take on your typical run-of-the-mill rose fragrance. So different, and kudos to BDK Parfum for creating this beauty, because I think we needed something like this. It's something that I think it was needed in the market, because it's been a while since we've been surprised by such a gorgeous rose fragrance. I absolutely love it. It's a very fruity, lush, juicy type of rose fragrance. There's a lot of rose here, undoubtedly, but there's a lot more. It's very fruity as well, very juicy. There's a very juicy pear note here. I can smell the pear without even spraying this on, but of course I'm gonna spray it on because I love it. Oh my God. The opening is floral, citrusy, super duper juicy, very juicy, slightly zesty as well. The pear here is very photorealistic. It's a very juicy barley pear to me. I already reviewed this fragrance in one of my previous videos. It's very juicy, very sparkling. And as I said before, this perfume has zero resemblance to the 𝐿𝐼𝐼. I would say scent-wise, it's completely different. And honestly, I can't find the relationship. I can understand that. We are all different, clearly, but people sometimes, people are very easy to influence. And sadly, that becomes like a snowball effect, and the information ends up being very misleading. In my opinion, this has zero resemblance to the 𝐿𝐼𝐼 or to Guidance. I can't understand why people think about Guidance. I can't understand though why people think this one reminds them of Guidance, although it's not similar, but I can see where people are coming from when they say that. However, with the 𝐿𝐼𝐼, zero. Now, as I also mentioned previously when I did a more in-depth review of Imparia, to me, this perfume is a flanker of Tabac Rose, also by BDK. Tabac Rose is more gourmand. It has a chocolate accord that makes it completely yummy. This one doesn't have the chocolate accord or that gourmand component. It has the fruity aspect of it that, if you will, that could be a little bit gourmand, if you will, but it's not I wouldn't think of Imparia as a gourmand scent, not at all. It's juicy, yummy, sweet, but not really gourmand. However, in the dry down, it's very similar to Tabac Rose. So if you have Imparia and Tabac Rose at home, I invite you again to test them both side by side and let me know your thoughts. Imparia is a very modern, very contemporary type of scent, very easy to wear, dress up or dress down, jeans and t-shirt, nightgown, it doesn't matter. You can wear this to a wedding, you can wear this for a night out, you can wear this, for date night, lunch, brunch, whatever. It's a very, very versatile fragrance, but it's a beast in terms of projection and lasting power. This perfume lasts 8 to 10 hours, like easily. It also has a very beautiful but dense sillage. That's why I was telling you, be careful with your spritzes if you don't want to choke people around. If you don't mind, if you don't care, please go ahead and overspray. But keep in mind that it is a beast in terms of projection, lasting power, and also the sillage, as I was saying, it's very thick, very syrupy, very dense. There's nothing angelic or ethereal here. It's very dense. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So if you haven't yet, and if you like to try a different take on your typical rose fragrance, you have to try Imparia by BDK Parfums. So the next one on my list is Kshan Rose by the Different Company. This is a great house, guys. You have to explore more this house. They have amazing fragrances. They are all very, very different. They all have a very different DNA. So I'm pretty sure you will find something that you like. I don't know why this perfume house doesn't get any hype or recognition all little it deserves, because in Europe it's very popular. Actually, when I was living in Germany was when I discovered the Different Company, but here in the US it doesn't seem to be that popular. Anyway, I encourage you to try it because they have really, really great perfumes. So what do we have here? Kshan Rose, or Kshan Rose, it's a very dewy, musky type of rose. And this is one of those perfumes that even people who don't like rose might still like it. Same with Imparia, completely different scent profiles. Imparia is actually a beast, while this one, it's like a fragrance for a baby. I mean, it's so soft and so feminine. It's a fruity, musky, feminine, delicate rose. Very, very delicate. It's one of those your skin but better type of scents. Really, really beautiful and sheer, angelic, ethereal. No matter how much you overspray, it will never become obnoxious. Very sheer, very pure. It's so translucent. It's so, so beautiful. The color says it all, you guys. It's so, so pretty. It has peonies in the heart, peonies and rose. It has lychee. Lychee always provides fragrances, dewiness, and a lot of femininity. This perfume reminds me a lot of Lost in Paradise by Ex Nihilo. They are not similar scent-wise, but I will definitely put them in the same category. Like Imparia and Delina, for example, to me, they are completely different fragrances. They couldn't be more different, to be honest. However, I would put them in the same category. And I think that's where people comes from when they say it reminds them of Delina. It's hard to believe that they are relating the scents, because the scents are completely different. However, if you tell me they are similar scent profiles, or I would put them in the same category, that's a completely different story. And this is what I'm trying to say with Kshan Rose and Lost in Paradise. Both have lychee, both are super ethereal, super angelic, translucent, and they are different scent-wise, but again, I would put them in the same category. This is a very romantic type of rose, perfect fragrance for a bride. It doesn't last long. This is a fragrance that only lasts about 3 hours on my skin, maybe 4 if I overspray, but no more than that. However, to me, that's not an issue because I always carry decants of my favorite fragrances when I know that they are not going to last all day. And in full transparency, sometimes I don't even care if they don't last all day because, as I said many times, I like to wear different fragrances throughout the day. So this one is on the very soft side, but being this soft also has advantages because you can wear this to work, you won't choke anyone around. It's very mass appealing, people love it, but they have to come close to you, and when they come close to you, they'll be able to smell it. It's so beautiful, guys. Very cozy, very romantic. I think it's a daytime type of scent, but of course you can wear it for date nights. Very, very pretty, super safe, inoffensive, versatile, and your skin but better type of scent. And this was Kshan Rose by a Different Company. The next fragrance on this list is Fleur Majesty Rose Royale 31 by 𝑘𝐿. The number next to the vertical bar, see, all 𝑘𝐿 fragrances have a number next to the name, and that means the number of experiments or the number of attempts until they finally got to the final formulation. So it seems they tried 31 times until they got to what the fragrance smells today. It's beautiful, guys. It's a very juicy, fruity, floral scent, especially a rose scent. It's sweet, very feminine, with pear here in the opening. Now the pear, I can't pick the pear. I know it has pear, but I can't pick the pear. However, I think the pear note here is more about the juiciness and the texture, that crispy, juicy, semi-sweet type of texture, rather than about the scent, the pear scent. 𝑘𝐿 has other fragrances where you can smell a more prominent pear. In this particular case, although it has pear in the top notes, as I said, to me it's more about the texture and the juiciness rather than the scent. It also has peach. The peach note is more prominent, slightly more prominent than the pear, but you can pick a little bit of the peach, which provides sweetness and something soft to this fragrance. It's super fresh. It's a modern rose, slightly powdery in the dry down, very fresh. I think it comes from the violet leaf. Violet leaf is a completely different note than violet. Violet, the flower, is more powdery, while the violet leaf note is green. It leans more on the green side, and it's where I think the freshness is coming from. Very beautiful, easy to wear. Is it a groundbreaking rose fragrance? No, it's not. However, who cares? It's been a while since I've smelled a groundbreaking fragrance, and I think that at the pace the industry is moving, this is a personal opinion, but I think the industry doesn't take the time to create groundbreaking fragrances anymore. And I feel like nowadays it's more about a race to meet the high demands fragrances are having, rather than about creating groundbreaking scents. Fragrances to me are living their golden age. They have some sort of celebrity status nowadays. Maybe one day we'll get back there. Nowadays, I don't find that in perfumery. That doesn't mean that we are not having great releases. Absolutely amazing releases, but not all of them, of course. But I'm bringing this up because to many people, if a fragrance is not groundbreaking, it's a big turn off. They say, oh, it's not groundbreaking. Give me a break. And I think we have to adjust. These are the times we're living now. This is how the industry is moving forward, and there's nothing we can do about it. So leave it or take it. I love this perfume. I highly encourage you to try it, even if you don't like rose fragrances, because trust me, this one doesn't smell like any typical rose perfume. It's more fruity. I would say personally, I think it's more fruity than floral. And when it comes to the floral aspect, which is basically in the core, you won't smell a typical rose perfume. So if you don't like rose, don't worry. And by the way, I forgot to disclose, I received this fragrance in PR. The KLA team is super duper nice, super kind, and they always send me their releases without any obligation to post. But I love the fragrance, so I wanted to include it in this list because I think it deserves some love. So the next fragrance on my list that might appeal to those who don't even like rose in perfumery is Rose Rebacci. So this is another fruity rose, which I love. It's also dewy, juicy, similar in a way to Cachan Rose, but it's slightly stronger and slightly spicier. Not spicy like in an ambery fragrance, not like that, but it has pink pepper, and you can pick the pink pepper right in the opening. However, after about 10 minutes, the pink pepper disappears completely and you will get a more floral, fruity type of scent. I love the fruity notes here. We have raspberry, we have peach, which gives a lot of sweetness and juiciness, and we also have apple, beautiful apple note. This is a very safe fragrance. I don't encourage you to blind buy perfumes at all, but if you are a blind buyer and if you enjoy blind buying fragrances, this one is pretty safe, and so is Cachan Rose. Both are very safe fragrances, and I'll take it one step further. If you want to buy a gift for someone who you know for a fact they love rose, these two, Cachan Rose and Rose Rebacci, are safe. I'm 99% sure if they like rose, they will love these two fragrances. They are really, really pretty. Ultra feminine. These two aren't the type of rose that could be unisex or even masculine leaning. Especially in the Middle East, it's very common that men wear rose forward fragrances and they smell absolutely amazing. But it's a completely different take on your rose. One of the things I love about the rose note is its versatility, because you can create those typical rich, dark, gothic type of rose fragrances, while on the other hand, you can create this angelic, ethereal, super sheer type of scents. And this versatility is something I truly appreciate about the rose note. And the last one on my list today is Dom Rosa by Liquid Imaginaire. Now, if we are talking about different takes on rose, I should have started with this one. This is the most different rose fragrance you can ever find on the market. It's so fizzy. In fact, it was inspired by Dom Perignon Rosé and not by the rose, by the flower. Hence the name Dom Rosa. But guys, this perfume is such a stunner. This is the original. I prefer the original over the flanker, which is pretty similar. The flanker is also beautiful. I might end up buying the flanker too, but so far I'm so happy with the original one that I'm not even thinking about the flanker, because honestly they are way too similar for me to justify having both. The main difference is that this one, it's more fizzy, more effervescent, and honestly that fizziness is what I like the most about this fragrance. Stunning perfume, smells super expensive, super luxurious. It's so unique, you guys, so unique. It's super fruity. The juiciness here comes from a very strong pear note. The pear here is very prominent. It's very fizzy, very bubbly, and it also has a champagne note. Pear and champagne are the most prominent notes here. They are definitely the stars of the show, and that's the reason why this fragrance is so juicy, so bubbly, so sparkly. Absolutely beautiful. It also has rose, of course. It's a very boozy type of scent. A nighttime fragrance, super elegant, super sophisticated. This is one of the fragrances I have in my special occasions tray. I love it. I really wear this fragrance for special occasions. And when I say special occasions, it doesn't have to be a red carpet event, right? We make the occasion special. It's our energy, it's what we put into it. So whatever special occasion means to you, that's what matters. It lasts about 6 to 8 hours on my skin, and it has a very beautiful sillage. You will leave a sillage during the entire lifetime of the fragrance. It projects incredibly well first hour and a half or two, but after that, yes, the fragrance becomes a little bit more toned down. However, it'll continue projecting for the entire time it remains on your skin. It's a crowd pleaser, an all year round type of scent. In my experience, this fragrance smells absolutely stunning always, but especially during summer nights. To me, this is a nighttime fragrance and an all year round type of scent. The difference is that in the summer, which I think it smells incredible, and actually the warmer and more humid the weather, the better. The difference with the winter or the colder months is that in the summer, you will get more of the fruity, juicy aspect, while during the colder months, you will get more of the fizzy, bubbly aspect of the fragrance. It's absolutely beautiful and you will turn heads. This fragrance, guys, massive compliment getter, massive head turner, 100%. So if you're open to explore different rose fragrances, I think this one is a must try. And honestly, I will start with the original. The flanker is also beautiful. As I said before, it's sweeter and in my opinion is less fizzy, less bubbly, but it's up to you. Try both and make your own decisions, but I'll still make sure to try the original. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This wraps up today's video. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please don't forget to hit the bell icon so you won't miss my upcoming videos. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please stay safe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.